Hello guys and welcome back to another Satisfactory video. In today's video we'll be looking at lights. Now as you can see in the darkness it's pretty dark over there, but luckily in update 5 they gave us some new toys, and that is lights. Now we've got a disco going over there, but we'll get to that in a bit. So let's look at the lights itself. Now in update 5 they gave us 4 light sources that we can work with. First one being a street lamp, this standard street lamp. Then we've got these ceiling lamps that you can add to the bottom of a factory floor to give you some light. You've got this huge floodlight that's on a huge tower base itself. And then of course you've got the portable floodlight that you can place on the sides of walls. Now with that they also gave us control panels to control these guys. So you can actually control quite a few lights at once, or you can actually connect one of these lights directly to a power source and control them. So let's look at this. So you can come into the street light and you can configure it. So what you get in this menu is all the controls relating to lights. Now it's the same for all of them and the control panel. Now, number one is the intensity. We'll have a look at that in a bit, and then you get the different colors as well. That's what we used back there with the disco. So let's turn on the street light first. Here we go. Street light turned on. Now it gives quite a bit of light. You can get a few of them in a line, and it produces enough light, especially in confined spaces. Then we'll look at the ceiling light next. Now this one works really well if you've got a factory with a roof and it's pretty dark inside. These guys work, it looks really nice. And then get to the floodlight and you'll immediately notice floodlight on, and he is pretty bright. Now the other one is basically the same, but that one is a bit lower, so we're not getting the same spread. But yeah, it's basically the same one. Now I'm going to use the floodlight as my control to show off some of the other features. Now as you can see, this is pretty bright, gives quite a bit of coverage, but when we want to change the color, you can actually see the color changes all over, and it's very much customizable. So if you don't want to use the green, you can come into this and edit it and change it to a light pink, for instance, and now we've got a very light pink color. You can also, let's just go use the white light for this. You can change the intensity. Now the intensity I think that fits for me the best is around the 35 mark. Gives a nice intensity, a nice coverage area, and it doesn't look too bright, so it doesn't wash out. If I turn this all the way up, you can see it washes out a bit of the other details in the scene, so just turning it down a bit works. Now the control panel isn't there to control one light at a time. The control panel is to select a few lights. So let's turn this guy off and move to the other side. Now I've got a daisy chain going on here. We've got the light source, the control panel, we've got our power going in on this part, and you can see there is the output for the lights, and then that goes to the light itself, and you can go and daisy chain onto each light. Now if I turn this one on, all of these turn on, so that is now all these lights, and if I turn it to like light blue, it works. So if I wanted to add another one onto this, I could just go and select my rotation. I wanted, you can see the arrow points to that, and I can now just go and select a power line from the previous one to the next one, and it will be added to the light source. Now another thing is, you'll notice that this one is white at the moment. So if I turn this one to red, this one to dark blue, you'll notice that it doesn't update the rest. But if I go back to my control panel and I change it all to yellow, it will update all of them to yellow. So this will override the individual setting of each lamp or light source that you've got. Now as you can see over here, we've got the different light sources, and you can see the disco effect that it's got. And here over our sample little factory, you can actually see one of these big floodlights and how they work. So you can see, like I said, the higher intensity is just a bit too much for me. To turn the intensity down just a bit, it doesn't wash out all the details. So you can still see this mesh is a good example of where stuff gets washed out if it's a bit too bright. So let's just turn it all up, and there we go. Now you can see it's just a bit too much. And now, of course, there is another thing that is on this, and that is the night mode. So the night mode on means that once it detects that it is light enough, it will switch itself off, and we can wait for that as the sun is actually setting over there in the distance. So you don't want this light to maybe run the whole time, you just want it to illuminate at night, and once it's got sufficient light, it will switch itself off. And that is basically Lights in a nutshell. It's a very nice addition to the game. I will say there is still a few bugs, graphical glitches that do occur with lights, but they do work very well overall. And they're not that bad on resources on your computer, so adding them in really just adds more atmosphere and life to your building. So yeah, and you can see there that light has now turned off because it is light enough to see what's going on. Yeah guys, that is it. If you like what you saw, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. Until next time, this has been Zombie Vega. Bye.